Blanca, are you ready to record? Okay. Welcome, ladies. Tonight is a webinar night. We are in the 1st of July. It's our last webinar before holidays. So our next webinar will be on September. And today we are a Q&A regarding the topic Q&A about effective and lasting networking with Doctora Irene Lopez de Vallejo.
That's me.
From London. I invite Irene because she has an impressive experience on making alliances in technology and partnerships. And she has this PhD on organizational behavior. So she has this part of people who is very important for the networking. And networking is at all kinds of levels. So networking for partnerships, alliances, looking for jobs, and looking for partners, doing business. And Irene has this experience more than 20 years in London, who is a very international city, who is everything almost happening there. And with all these events, and I am very curious to know how to create a very good network by your own, because as a woman, we need this specific network among women. And I invited her because we met in a conference 4 years ago in Brussels, and we met via Twitter. So you can see here, using the latest technologies, using the offline events. So Irene Lopez de Vallejo is a very good example for us. And this is a Q&A, questions and answers. So please, Irene, introduce yourself to the audience.
Yeah, hope you can hear me okay. Yeah, thank you, Hara. I'm delighted to be here. And I was the one that requested the Q&A because I thought I can put some thoughts in a few slides, but I think it's much better that if when I tell you a few things, yeah, let's leave it at that. Then you can stop, interrupt, or ask a question. And I'm very happy to be open about my experiences. As Hara said, I've been really working on building collaborations and alliances, mainly for applied research consortia, and mainly around disruptive technology. Yeah, that in the last 20 years has changed. Yeah, has evolved a lot. To end working on the digital AI, blockchain, and data space today. My background is social science, economics, and architecture. And what brings the three together is my interest in how technology impact groups of people. Yeah, and those can be groups of people working in organizations, can be groups of people working in cities. So I've been working on the innovation space, yeah, technology innovation, technology deployment space. So not having a super hyper technical background, but having by serendipity and chance working on technology and actually hardcore tech. I mean, like really. So I've worked in mechatronics, robotics, applied to the manufacturing environment, Internet of Things, future Internet, and evolving with those technologies through time and space, because I've lived in 3-4 countries, alongside my professional and personal sort of like development. That has taken quite a lot of effort and skills around engaging with groups of people. And I'm saying this because if you work in tech, you can pretend that actually you're a technologist. Nobody's gonna think she's a sociologist just by the look of you. Yeah, they think, oh, she's probably an engineer or a computer scientist. Yeah, and there is an interesting game or play, yeah, to be performed, yeah, with different types of organizations. I've always thought that networking was something that worked best when you do it, by chance, in terms of serendipitous, yeah, without a plan. But actually, 25 years later, I really think that having a plan is better. Yeah. So spontaneity, serendipity, you can actually have it once you have engineer a situation. Yeah. You can actually set up a plan and decide to be in the right place at the right moment with the right people, and then good things happen. Yeah. But serendipity is the very last moment of a good, say, networking or alliances building strategy. So that's what I believe, and I've been doing this for so many years that it's sort of like second nature. um yeah, I mean, I think that as an introduction, that is um what I can say.
Irene,
Any questions so far?
Yeah. So I can start with the first question. So how you make this plan? Do you prepare the list of the people like they are going to the event beforehand? Do you contact them before?
Okay, so before going to an event, for example, and we've done a few events together, it's more of what is your purpose in life at the point in time when you are in whichever organization and whichever environment. So what is the type of networking that you need to do? So it's not the same type. So it's not the same to do networking to get a product out to market, or to actually build research partnerships with universities, or to actually do a policy influencing, yeah, or thought leadership. So there are different ways of organizing your networking, depending on the output that you want to achieve. Yeah, I'd argue that the clearer the clearer the output. So if you know exactly what you want, I want to raise 5 million euros in public funding from this type of funding pot by the end of this year. Yeah, then you start the process looking at, oh, okay, so where I'm going to meet my partners, so where I'm going to meet the people I'm going to build these partnerships with. Yeah, you identify those places, and then you create a calendar. Yeah, you know that you have to be in these places at this time, and then you go and do it. Yeah. If you can get yourself a slot to participate in a panel or to present a paper, and you write the paper, or whatever, that is also very useful. Having visibility as part of the day, it helps a lot with meeting people. If you cannot do that, it works to understand what type of people are going, and if you can get obviously the list in advance, doing due diligence, what type of organizations you want to meet. Universities, then you target people from universities. Once you get to a point where you have a good network in the space, yeah, what I say is that you decide to go to, say, a European technology platform, to give you an example. Yeah. So I'm very active as of today in the Alliance for the Internet of Things Innovation and in the Big Data Value Association. I've been doing these two communities for the last 7 years, more or less. And the first year I didn't know anybody. The first year, let's put January. After 6 months and attending 2 events, you get to know the community, and after a year, you pretty much know everybody. Yeah, you know roughly who are the people and who are the ones that might help you to advance with your purpose, with that outcome, yeah, whatever that is. So it's also a question of um, keeping engaged, yeah, through time. I can keep on talking, but I don't know if there are questions or, yeah. But I think that having that a clear output, what do you want to get out of the networking? Yeah. If it's something you might want just to go and explore, yeah, what are these people doing? Yeah. How is the crowd looking like? Is this a place where I want to be more, where I want to spend more time? Yeah. Is that is prospection? Or actually I've got, as I said, a target in terms of income, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And then you organize your networking accordingly.
Yeah. How
I think
I
this is
have
a
a question.
very, very interesting. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
Victoria. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just thinking, of course, was trying to think how I can apply this into, let's say, my sector. So we look a lot now at robotics, right? There's something that now finance is very keen to flash these words around, right? That we are looking at automation, robotics, and that's something that I'm thinking how, like, because you have so much experience in the networking and sort of broadening this network. So how would you suggest that where I should start? Because when I look at, I talk to Deloitte, I talk to those big companies that sort of give me a, some sort of guidance on what we should do. But I'm thinking, this is still, for me, it's very difficult to sort of to have a strategy on how I can get into contact with companies that, how can I broaden my network in robotics, let's say, for finance? So how would you recommend me to go around that?
So the question is, how would you personally, not from your organization point of view, how you personally engage with the robotics community? Did I get it right?
Yeah, or even from the company also, because my company is we're just in the start of looking at it, and we get exposed to so many vendors that want to work with us. But I feel like what would be the right way of approaching it,
right?
In order just to
and then what would be what is it that you want to get out of that? So understand. So being able to do the due diligence around those robotics vendors, to understand the technology and the solutions, because you are going, because you have to make decisions with some of your colleagues around which ones to buy, the solutions from, right? Yeah. Do you have a technical team in the company?
We have outsourced it to India, but we do have it,
Right.
But it's outsourced, so that brings a different sort of complexity because they're not here. We cannot really work close with them.
What I meant is, do you have something like I don't know what your company does, right? But do you have something like a chief technology officer or someone that actually looks after the technology that you produce or you have?
Yeah, we sell the healthcare products, so it's beauty care products. So that our chief technology is not really there. That's the whole thing. So it's a bit of a scattered organization.
So your chief technology person is in India?
Yeah.
Right. And you're based in?
In the Netherlands.
In the Netherlands. Okay. And do you talk to each other often?
Yeah, we do, but it's a bit of a complicated structure, I think, matrix now with the outsourced companies. So I think in terms of finance and the robotics, we're a little bit on our own.
Right. And why would you want to adopt robotics? Is that what do you need the robotics for?
No, it's first of all, it's because we want to reduce the headcount. And everybody's always talking about that robotics in finance can actually help you to do that. So that's something that we would like to, to investigate on our own. But that's a bit of where I struggle is that, if you meet Big Four and then they give you a very nice presentation on how that will happen, but the reality is of course a bit different.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, how shall we go about in approaching those societies who are dealing with robotics?
So I would say that the first thing should be that you should be doing is what do you need? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What are the things that you want to investigate? Cost reduction, automatization of processes. So what are the things that you need? Yeah, as a business, it's something that is a reflection that you guys need to do internally, and it's more like business needs more than technologies. It's business needs. I need something that ticks all these boxes, and then just present that as key questions to the vendors. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're looking.
So that's basically just a regular process. Nothing.
No, in terms of
how we do with it.
It would be different. I mean, if you want to find new, exciting robotics startups or scale-ups that are doing really cutting-edge, super disruptive stuff in this environment, then just go out there and try and find them with those requirements. But if it's a question for you to actually understand the landscape of people that come to you, I would start first with your own business processes and your needs, and then put those in front of the people and say, these things, can you do it? I want you to tell me how you plan to do this, how much it's going to cost, how many resources, and all that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we are sort of doing at the moment. So we just scoping it and see where we want to do it. Okay, good. Thank you.
Because I think if you go and talk to people out there, they're not going to solve your problem. You're going to meet more people that it's going to get more confusing. So unless you need to hunt for cutting edge innovation, I would stick to due diligence, your own due diligence.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, good.
And if your technology guy can actually input in the process, saying, and by the way, these are the technology infrastructure that we need those solutions to interact with. Because those vendors
that's of course that will be sort of also part of the process somewhere down the line. Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure.
I a little bit is my question, and a little bit is something that I see often in ladies who are finishing the MBA. Sometimes there are moments in our life in which we don't really know what we want. It could be, that you just finished MBA, you just got divorced, they just laid you off, or simply you really don't know what you want. How would you approach, because that's a fundamental thing that I totally agree with you, before you go to an event, you have to know what you want. So how do you manage when you do not know what you want?
Oh, yeah, I see your point, and I've been so many times in that situation. Because I think that's, so I am a person that has lived for 47 years without a plan. Okay. So I don't have, I'm not thinking in 5 years, I'm going to be here doing this, ever, never. Actually, the way I think, in case it interests you, is I always think my birthday is in June. Yeah. So it was last week. And for me is I go from June to June thinking, where will I be June next year? What will life bring to me? Yeah. So that is my mystic type of approach to this type of, so what is life has in, so I'm basically open for new things. And I think that is an attitude that you need to have when you are looking to build partnerships and alliances and identify opportunities for that. You need to be quite open. Now, to the question of when you don't know what to do, but you need to get out and try to find your way. That's what I think serendipity plays a really, really, really interesting role, because when you don't know what you want, you probably can think, well, you know what? I don't know. I don't like manufacturing. But actually, I quite like agriculture. Yeah. I can see myself working in the agricultural sector. I don't know what I want to do in that sector, but I'm going to find out. Yeah. So you don't know exactly what you want to do. I want to work in this type of role, earning this amount of money. I want to live in this place, and I want to have, whatever. So that is when serendipity plays a role. I also find important to understand at some point in your career, do you want to manage people, or you want to become a super specialized, in one specific area, which probably means that you're not going to have any team to manage. You're going to have to collaborate on some sort of matrix, organization. And that is a very important decision to make, to be able to get out, because then you're going to be looking for certain type of responsibilities, and you're going to have some type of skills around managing people that you're not going to have as a specialist, and vice versa. And that also influences the way you introduce yourself to others. So serendipity. Think about roughly this is the area where I want to move, and then try a few things. It's trial and error, I think. This is useless. This sounds interesting. And then it just sort of like, you go in a very organic way if you want. That's just my opinion. I might be completely wrong, and I'm open to constructive criticism, please.
No, I agree with you. The moments when I have tried to control is when things go wrong.
I think from a personal point of view, it's important. It's having plans. I found this is again my personal experience and my character. Having a very strict plan, it's never worked for me. It's just disappointment. So you have to have some flexibility. You know roughly where you want to be. You want to have, you want a super hectic lifestyle, be an executive, or no, you want to have a more relaxed. And so understanding what your needs are and how you want to, when you say, oh, when I grow old, I want to be working in this type of environment, doing this type of things. Having that is fine. But having a plan that you have to by the end of this year, I'm going to have to a pay rise and and 3 people, it's just, life doesn't, and professional life doesn't work that way.
Tatiana,
I agree with you for sure. That's a very good point that you're making. I think in the current environment where things are changing so quickly, if you have a very strict plan, I think you will be the one that will be losing because you're not able to adapt to changes. So very good point, Irene.
And I think that also for me, what it wants is, so I know what my weaknesses are. So I really get drawn to people with interesting ideas that are very smart, that want to change things. So that is my type of, that is my type of people and my type of, working environment. So if I cannot make some changes, if I'm not working with people that are interested and have something to say, it doesn't rock my boat. It doesn't stimulate me. I know I'm not going to be able to spend much time there. So I look for that type of, say, personal opportunities. They might, the money might not be that good, but actually the opportunities to do stuff that it really, it's high potential, high impact is very important. For other people, it's more, well, give me a 9 to 5, super clear objectives and everything, a very structured, and that is my happiness. So I think knowing what we need and what we want is very, very important to be able to steer your professional life. Otherwise, bound to disappointment. What your family wants, what your friends want, the way other people see you, how you see yourself doing. And sometimes it's just a question of, maybe some of you have done this, that doing a little diary for 2 or 3 weeks. What are the things that this is actually a girlfriend of mine that recommended this from, she lives in Singapore now. And she's Asian. And she told me, like, just do 2 or 3 weeks every day. What are the things that that make you feel good? What are the moments? What it's that really? And she was like, after a week and a half, you're gonna know exactly what are the things that really are your thing. That is a really good exercise. Just stopping and thinking. Actually, it was when I was talking to those 3 ladies that I was feeling engaged and full and happy is not a good word, but like yeah, powerful, right? It was, yeah, there is something here. So, and for me, I know what it is. For me, is meeting people, it's collaborating with people, it's ideas, it's, yeah, that's the vibe. That's what I enjoy. And we are recording this.
Yes.
The reason why I'm not asking questions is because for me the situation is different, so I don't have really a doubt about what do I want or anything, because we are full-time students, so we're in the stage when we are like looking for the job. So for me it's more like the problem arises at later stages, like even after the event ended. So I even end up having this person in my LinkedIn, but then what to do next? Like, then I'm blocked.
Okay, but for you would be now looking for a job. Yeah, where do you want to go? Yeah. And do you have a sector? Do you know which area would you like?
Yes, so actually it can be different sectors. So it can be either to continue in the area of finance and management accounting, or to go to consulting, which is a traditional for MBA path.
Mm-hmm.
And especially about the consulting, they say like it's only through networking you find this kind of job. So basically when we arrive to the event,
Yeah.
The goal, like the best possible, let's say, outcome is to have this person to refer you for a position internally.
Yeah.
How to make the step from, let's say, having them in your LinkedIn after the event to that stage when he's ready to forward your CV, that's like
Yeah.
a huge jump.
So I would say that, so if you know what events you need to go, but actually I would say that is part of your job. So is you are studying and you want to get the best marks possible in the MBA, but you need to start, let's say, do one event a week. Go to a meetup or, or something like that. Find the event that, yeah, and find one event a week. That is hard work, right? It's going to be hard work for you. But you go, yeah, and you go there with a pitch, like a 30-second pitch. My name is Tatiana. I'm doing an MBA, and I'm really looking for opportunities to do X, Y, Z. And then you see if people look at you like, whatever, go to the next person. Nice meeting you. Go to the next person. That's it. Don't stay with people. This sounds very dramatic, but don't stay with people that have no interest in you, and you don't go there to make friends. Yeah. So meeting nice people is always super nice. But if they are nice and they have something that can help you to go to the next stage, that's even better. Okay. And don't be afraid of doing that, because I think you have something really important to offer, which is, a really, really interesting piece of education, yeah, that differentiates you from other people. And there is no shame in saying what you want. This is,
Okay.
and I see myself doing this, 2 or 3 things, whatever you want to do. It's like write them down and memorize them. It will come naturally. It's the fake it until you make it thing. Yeah. Just go. And even you are a bit shy and you don't want to, do it. I think it's the best approach. And then once you have them in your LinkedIn, then we are talking about how do you project your social media. So do you have a plan every week to write something interesting and related to what you're doing in your MBA? So maybe you have a fantastic lecturer coming, and you can say, oh, really, today we have someone, whomever, telling us about this topic, and then your own reflection. And I think this can help companies to do X, Y, Z. Yeah, and you tag the people that you have met at events that think that might be interested in this type of person, research, link, or whatever. Yeah, sort of like engaging them in a conversation in LinkedIn. Yeah, and even if they don't respond immediately, they will see you. They will see that you are active. You're doing something interesting in an area that is of interest to them. Yeah, and I think it will pay off. In I think that type of things they pay off.
Interesting. Thank you.
That just try it, and if you have any doubts, just let me know. Well, of course, you have to have your LinkedIn profile fine-tuned, get a good background picture that reflects what you want to do, yeah, like the future, yeah. So I've been doing this with friends, like informally, and they always say, "Why a picture in the background?" It's like, well, because the picture people are visual. Yeah, people will see your face and will make a judgment. People will see the picture and will say, "How interesting." So they will link it in, and then they will go through your CV. Yeah, but I hope this helps.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Tatiana, thank you.
I felt reflected in Tatiana's question because sometimes we postpone to go to the networking event because we're not ready, because we're in this special circumstance, because in the future it will be. I think it's applicable to more than students. Thank you, Irene.
Yeah,
Thank you,
no,
Tatiana. That's very valuable.
But I think it affects, it's something that we all can do because, having a pitch about yourself is super useful in any professional environment. And if you have 3 or 4, it's even better. Yeah, because you don't have the same sort of like face for everybody. You're not just one thing, you're a number of things. Yeah. So depending on who you're talking to, it's like, my name is this, and I'm actually doing this, but because we're in this event, you might be interested in this volunteering experience that I have, whatever. And that is, and I think in days like today, that we are living in such changing and uncertain times, not only politically but socially and and economically, having a few like profiles, images, or pitches about yourself, it comes in very, very handy. Whether you want to change jobs or stay in the job that you have and you want to, talk to others about what your aspirations are.
So I was thinking about the Tatiana question as well, because we are going to offline events for networking, to conferences or meetups or breakfast, but we are after following up in LinkedIn or by email. Do you have some tips to follow up perfectly?
Perfectly.
Or what is the next conversation we have, or how to keep the conversation going?
Yeah, okay. So,
and also maybe a question, is LinkedIn the best way of doing it, or is there any other way?
Okay, now that's a good one, Victoria. So I use LinkedIn like other people use Facebook. So for me, it's a tool to researching whomever I'm going to meet. And actually, it's I create my own mental picture. Oh, has this person traveled or not? What is that person based? What type of background? Because you can see if someone has a multidisciplinary background is different from someone that has kept a very specific line of let's say background or way of thinking. So you start building mental pictures about them. So I use that a lot. And even before, I'm talking about meetings because I do lots of meetings, not only events, but also, meetings of different types. I look at their profiles, I look at their own network, and I see how close are we on second degree, are we on third degree, completely out of, so for me, it's completely out of my network. Oh my God, this person must live in New Zealand or something. Because, there is, so after so many years doing this job or this technology research, whatever, networking, it's you get to know lots of people globally. I've got a global network now, and that I'm sure you all do, but what my network is hyper curated, so I have now 4,500 connections. I've met every single person. It's either I've met them, I've had some exchanges with them, because of, so with, there's been something, it's either that we have belonged to the same working group in a technology platform, we have worked in the same organization, through an organization, I have met them in events, but I know exactly what event, Yeah, also because LinkedIn reminds you of that. You know, when did you connect it? And you can think, oh, okay, at this time I was working for this company doing this type of things. So I probably met this person in this type of, yeah. So it's not just that LinkedIn is a tool like many others. I have to say that I use it a lot and I find it really useful. I have a basic free membership, so I don't have the premium or anything. I tried it and it wasn't for me. So I don't have an HR role, or I don't have roles that might need. I don't do cold sale. I'm not gonna sell a product to millions of people. Yeah, and I'm not interested in having 25,000 followers. Yeah, it's not something that I'm interested in. So that's why I kind of like confidently go back to anybody on my network and research. I mean, I can research my network, go through them and say, I need people that are working on this sector, for example, or in this city or in this geographical area. And I can be a little bit, target them. But of course, I've been building this for the last 20 years. Yeah. So it's not something that you suddenly come up with. I think the point is LinkedIn is useful. So to your question, Victoria, I find it really useful. You have to use it for whatever is the purpose that you want to use. Yeah, for me, it's about understanding who I'm going to meet. Yeah, or actually checking on someone's background after I met them to understand how can we go forward. Because you have to think. Yeah, the way I think is not utilitarian; it's more collaborative. Yeah. So is that what can I offer to this person? What is it that I do that is of interest to this person or group? And then, what is it that these people could do for me potentially if I ask nicely? It's as simple as that. I mean, I tend to oversimplify everything. Yeah, for me, everything is like either very easy or impossible. So I don't have a middle term. So yeah, did I answer to your question, Ahara?
Yeah, maybe I
You
have
can say
more
no.
detailed question about how you follow up. So,
Okay, so the question of how you follow up is you follow up because you have a reason to follow up.
mhm.
It's either you want that person to share your CV or look at your CV, give you an opinion, introduce you to someone. So you have to know what to ask. And I think you have to be very realistic about what that other person can do for you with no cost. So you're going to ask for something that for that person is super valuable and it could benefit that person. It's very possibly won't do it for you. Yeah. Then you enter into the realm of the personal relationships. Someone that has a professional relationship with you needs to see the win-win, needs to see how they are going to win by making that, say, introduction or checking your paper or resharing something that you have put out and you need people to actually echo or contribute. You see what I mean?
Mhm.
So you don't provide some value in some very clear, crystal clear value. Yeah. Even if it's just, I will be eternally grateful if you can share my CV within your company. Yeah. So you owe that person. So it creates a bond. That's how I would follow. And that's how I follow, you need to know what you want. Yeah. Following up with a nice, oh, it was great to meet you in that event. Can we please stay linked? That is absolutely fine. Yeah. But then is what is it that you want? You probably need to check your list of contacts and decide who you call for what specific purpose. Yeah, I don't think there are magic recipes. Yeah, it is very much LinkedIn is a tool like any other. I find it really useful. Yeah, although I work with loads of people on the blockchain and decentralized space that think that LinkedIn is dead, I still find it incredibly useful. Any questions or comments around this? Because you might have a different view on have a more, I don't.
So we have other ladies as well on the phone. Do you want to ask questions? Morgan, Lisa?
Lisa, Christine, yeah, more?
I don't have any questions. I just have, I'm Morgan, by the way. Nice to meet
Hi,
you.
Morgan.
And thank you so much. Hi. Thank you so much for everything you're sharing. I find it very useful too. To go into a bit more detail, there's a few articles that I've written for a platform to further women taking the next step. And the articles that I would refer to, question of how to use LinkedIn in a step-to-step way, some suggestions on personal branding, and on how to network. You can find there. I just had to think of them, that they're really detailed and they're very 1, 2, 3. They are more recipe format, but of course the suggestions, they're broad, so it can be interpreted in many different ways.
Yeah, and that's very useful. And I think, having a look at those is always very, very good to say, well, I need a framework. I need a 1, 2, 3. I need a recipe to actually move forward. And I read lots of those articles. Yeah. It's just that and this is my opinion, I think you need to have, it's more like common sense. Yeah. If you want to, how do you follow up on LinkedIn? Well, if you want to connect to someone that was super nasty to you and you didn't have any sort of feeling, but it's like the super COO of whatever company you want to work for, I would say link to that person. Don't ask any favors, because very possibly it's not going to do anything for you. Yeah. So personal relationships are very important in any sort of like collaborative or networking situation. So focusing on building good quality relationships, not necessarily being friends with everybody, but actually making links that bring quality to the relationship. So you have something to offer and the other person understands that. Yeah. And at the same time, the other person actually has something to offer you. And here we can talk about, it can be an equal type of collaboration. So when you are two that are in the same space and you can help each other at the same level, can be a mentor, a mentee type of relationship. Or I really like the way you do stuff. Yeah, I have these questions. Can you help me? Yeah, and that works as well. And it can be if you create something, you provide some value, because because actually you can introduce that person to other people. Yeah, because you are a hub or a networker and you know lots of people, and that is your value. Yeah, how do you want to play that card? It's just a way of. I'm talking about my personal experience.
I think that advice, personally, if I can say or build on that, I think that your advice translates over time. So whether it's around the caveman campfire, or on blockchain, or LinkedIn, or in person, or in email, whatever is the tool of the day, I think that the advice that you said, have good common sense, people skills, and know yourself and know what you can give and what you need.
Yeah,
that stands the test of time in any industry, and anyone can learn from that tip that you gave.
Perfect summary, Morgan. Any more questions? Jara, come on, I know you have questions there, and you are always the one with the list of questions. Go there, go.
So I have a question as well. When you made the point of being prepared before an event, so before you meet the people. So now is the next level, when you know the people, but you have to build alliance, like you are doing now with your Ocean Protocol in the blockchain industry.
Yeah.
So how you are making all these alliances and to influence the people to go to the Ocean Protocol?
Mm. So that is a very specific question of what I'm doing at the minute. Yeah, no, it's good because that gives context. Yeah. So what I'm doing now for everybody's benefit. So I'm heading partnerships and building alliances, business development for Ocean Protocol, which is an initiative that is an open source, decentralized protocol and network for data sharing. Yeah, so we're building a layer of the Web3, the next generation web, and it's got a blockchain substrate. And the vision and the mission and the aspiration is unlock data silos to develop more democratic AI, yeah, at global scale, because it's enabled by the Web3 and it's got a decentralized approach. So in that context, we say, yeah, that we are helping to build a new data economy, yeah, that has the principles of openness, fairness, personal data, privacy first. We have teams in Berlin, Singapore, London, and people globally. We have a very large network of ambassadors that are individuals that want to actually help in their own cities to take the word out, because this is an open source, free to use type of thing. So the question is, okay, good. When the world, yeah, is your ecosystem, how on earth do you go about building relationships that take this technology to the wider number of people to interact with and to use, to test, and actually bring that knowledge back to the technical team, yeah, so that they can iterate and produce the next iteration of technology, yeah. And I think it's very difficult and very ambitious. So what we are trying to change is the way the digital world operates. It's now very centralized. Think of the Facebook and the Googles of this world, yeah, that they are changing as well. You know, they are also thinking, they're changing, they're opening up new initiatives that involve blockchain. But so we have three main, say, pillars of this building partnerships strategy. We focus on the technology communities we want to work with, the blockchain community, the open source community, yeah, the software developers, that community, to engage them, to help us build the next generation products and services and integrate their own solutions into the protocol. We are working with the AI community, the data science, the people that are going to use the data when it's open, to build products and monetize their algorithms. We are talking to industry, like companies that, and we have a specific form to interact. We have an accelerator for industry to come and say, well, I want to test this in a 3-month POC. So what do I do? And we give them a path to actually interact with the technology and some channels to the technical team. And then finally, we have launched very large, an ambitious global program to recruit ambassadors, so people that in the cities, as I said, organize meetups, link to the local community, engage with them and take the word out. So we have something focused on the very, very technical communities, yeah, and that has different flavors depending on where you are in the technology stack, yeah. If you're on the crypto space, if you're on the AI space, and you're on the open source space. We have this accelerator for companies, yeah, mostly corporates. And we have this large education, awareness, evangelization, dissemination program that has a group of people in different cities globally that are taking the word out. And to give you some numbers, we launched the ambassador network. The first call was November last year, and we received over 130 applications, yeah. And today we have around 200 people onboarded in the program globally, and 11 cities across the 4 continents, that have launch what we call data economy meetups, yeah, to raise awareness of actually, there is a whole new set of technologies that can, yeah, help you share data in trusted ways and open up your data for the AI community, yeah, locally. And that is the approach. Was I clear, Hara?
Yeah, I'm thinking.
You can say no, yeah. So
no, I am thinking to figure out about the networking. So when you have your network and then you use your network to create these mini groups cross industry, and then you manage them from your position at Ocean Protocol. So you are thinking strategically, and then you're going one-to-one in the industry and say, okay, we have to bring this ambassador, we have to find this customer to test our protocol.
No, it's the opposite way. Is when I said at the beginning of the webinar today that you need to have a plan. In some cases, it actually pays off to have a plan. You have to engineer the opportunities to help you with your particular task. Here, the task at hand is to stimulate, not create because the organizations are there, is attract and mature companies of different types, engineer vision of new data we are building. And this is very specific, very technological, and very yeah. So it's not your usual, I've got a product, I need to take it to market, 6 months I'm gonna do this. Yeah. So here what we need to attract is people that come from different communities and that have the world, yeah, to come there to have, incentives back to the win, to participate. Actually, they win by using it. And you only have networking after, networking the process, yeah. You have to have an engaging for different communities. So, in my understanding, is the capacity to in organizations.
We have problem. We lost her, huh?
Yeah, now Irene joined again. Irene, are you there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I cannot hear her either.
No. Yeah, Irene? Yeah, there is technical problems with the audio. Do you hear Irene perfectly, or do you have problems as well with the noise?
Can you hear me?
Yes, now yes.
I don't know. I'm going to take the video camera on, but it may be because I was talking too much.
Yeah. Victoria, do you have more questions for Irene?
I have very difficulties in hearing her, actually.
Yeah, I have the same problem.
Mm-hmm.
So Irene, I think there is 10 o'clock p.m. here in the Netherlands. We have Irene?
Well,
yeah, it's 10 p.m. in the Netherlands. We have to close the webinar, and we thank you very much for your time and the strategies and all your experience through networking. I think it was very insightful and refreshing. Like, networking is a bit like leadership. You have to know yourself. You have to know what you want. and you have to make your own opportunities as well. And in the long term is to create good relationships, to have a strong network, to know your network.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Blanca, Victoria, do you want to make an extra conclusion?
The point that I absolutely love about what you were mentioning is the simplicity. And I love your quote, I will use it. If it is not simple, I'll consider it impossible and I will not do it. I will concentrate in the things that are simple. Very inspired. Thank you very much. Victoria,
this was used.
Victoria, your conclusion?
Sorry, ladies. No, maybe it's it's also my my network. No questions. Thanks, Irene. I think it was very interesting. I think it's a good point for me that I've learned today is that I should be a little bit more prepared. I think once I go to networking events or breakfast sessions, sort of with the idea what I want to get out of it. So that's a very good point.
Yeah. Tatiana?
No, thank you so much for everything today.
Yeah. So if someone, Christine, Morgan, Lisa, you want to make a point for the conclusion, is now your time.
Yeah, Christine here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm the first time here, and I think I'm struggling a bit with the setup. But thanks a lot. I had not so many questions, but I was really listening in, and I found it a very interesting conversation, making me aware that I'm often just not considerate enough when I plan to go to events, what I want there, and that I actually need to be a little bit more thorough in this. Thanks a lot. Very inspirational.
Yeah, welcome.
I wanted to thank you also very much for the opportunity to join the webinar. And I wanted to say that the point about engineering the situation and outcomes, I found that very well put. And I completely agree with opportunity favors the prepared mind. And that it's important to begin with the end in mind. So have the goal clear, have your questions clear. And I thought that was an excellent point about engineering the situation. So thank you so much for that and all the rest, and for everyone's input too.
Thank you very much, and have a nice week and month and summer, because our next webinar will be in September. I think it's the 2nd September, so Monday, the first Monday of September, and then we have our networking dinner in Rotterdam on the 5th, Friday 5th of September. So you can find all the events in our website, mentorwe.wordpress.com/events, and you can review all the events and join the events from now and make your agenda for the year. Thank you very
so
much.
much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.